That rusted dumpster behind my building always reeked of sour milk and piss until the morning I found the briefcase wedged under its frame. Inside, $240,000 in cash. A passport with my photo but a different name. And one sheet of printer paper that said, in thick black ink, "Run. They're already coming." 3 hours later, my face was on the local news. Not my face exactly, but it was close enough. Same jacket. Same jawline. Same alley behind the bank on 5th and Marlowe where someone in a hoodie pulled a gun, shot the security guard, and vanished into the early morning shadows. Only I didn't pull the trigger. I wasn't even awake when it happened. But that didn't matter. Because when the cops found my prints on a shell casing in the trash bin beside the scene and a half-burned gas receipt from my old job in the back alley, they stopped asking questions. They had enough. The narrative clicked. David Ellison. 28. Quiet. Odd hours. Works remote. No strong alibi. Guilty. The kicker? That trash bin wasn't mine. Not technically. It belonged to the building next door. But the maintenance guy, Bobby, told the cops I was always back there. Smoking. Dumping weird stuff. He was lying. I knew he was lying. But he'd been acting off for weeks. Nervous around me. Too eager. Then came the footage. Grainy black and white. Someone my height, same build, same jacket, sprinting from the scene. Face covered. But the timestamp? 5:38 a.m. I was in bed. Sleeping off a whiskey headache. No way to prove it. And that's when the briefcase showed up. I thought it was a trap at first. But the cash was real. So was the passport. Name, Simon Rowe. Birthplace, Nevada. Stamped. Laminated. The page edges felt warm, like it had been printed hours earlier. That letter, just 5 words, "Run. They're already coming," felt less like a threat, more like a command. So I ran. I left my phone in a storm drain. Burned my clothes. Shaved my beard. Took a bus to a city I'd never been to and used 300 of the stolen bills to rent a room above a Korean barbecue place that only takes cash. For a while, things were quiet. Then the calls started. No number. No ringtone. Just static. Always at 4:17 a.m. I answer and there's nothing until the last 3 seconds. A voice. Always the same. Female. Calm. Mechanical. "Don't go outside yet?" Or, "They're on the wrong floor." Or once just, "Simon, breathe." I didn't tell anyone. Who could I tell? The news still calls me a person of interest. There's security footage. A reward. A Reddit thread where some jackass deep-dived my old Instagram and found a blurry shot from a hiking trip that proves I was casing the bank months ago. I'm folklore now. But this stranger? Whoever's calling me. They know things. Specifics. Like when the landlord knocked on my door Tuesday night, said a detective was in the restaurant downstairs asking questions. 30 seconds before that knock, my phone buzzed with a single word, "Window." I jumped. Landed in a trash bin. Sprained my wrist. But I got out. I started moving nightly. Cheap motels. Hostels. Once I slept in a hardware store stockroom. A guy named Reggie let me crash in after hours. Gave him $80. He let me borrow a hoodie and didn't ask questions. The voice called me again last night. For 17 a.m. Same static. Same silence. Then, "They framed you for a reason. Your prints were planted. The shooter is someone you know." I wanted to scream. Ask who? Ask why me? But the voice hung up. Tonight I found something under my motel bed. An envelope. Inside, a new phone. A plane ticket to Portland. And a photo. It's me walking out of my building a week before the robbery. And standing across the street, half-shadowed behind a lamppost. Bobby, the maintenance guy. Smiling. Watching. Tomorrow I fly to Portland. I don't know who left the ticket. I don't know what's waiting. But I know one thing now. I didn't find that briefcase. It was given to me. And someone wants me alive just long enough to understand why. Edit. Of course, names, places, and time changed. I'm not so dumb. Update 1. I'm writing this from a basement. Not metaphorically, a literal basement. Damp concrete, bare bulb, tiny slit window at ground level that shows nothing but the crusted wheels of parked cars. The air smells like wet laundry and dead flies. And right now, I trade every last dollar from that briefcase for 10 minutes of sun. Because Portland was a trap. I didn't see it at first. I flew out on the midnight red-eye using the passport, Simon Rowe. No red flags, no questions. Whoever made it knew what they were doing. Perfect laminate, biometric chip, legit scan. When I landed, there was a guy waiting. Late 40s, tan trench coat, holding a sign that said R. That was the code from the last call. R. So I followed him. He didn't talk on the ride. Just played smooth jazz and drove me through misty side streets like we were heading to a spa, not a safe house. 40 minutes outside the city, through pine-lined roads and neighborhoods with more trees than people, we pulled up to a duplex that looked like it had PTSD. Faded siding, shattered mailbox, front door with 5 locks, and a basement hatch on the side like something out of a wartime thriller. Downstairs, the guy said. I followed. The first thing I noticed? No dust. The stairs creaked like hell, but the air was clean. Basement was organized. Clean blankets. Water bottles stacked by the wall. A small fridge. Power strip, radio, burner laptop. Someone had prepped this. That's when he finally spoke again. You stay down here until I tell you otherwise. No noise. No lights after 10. And don't go near the window. I asked who he was. He just said, I'm the reason you're not already in a cage. And then he left. Locked the hatch behind him. The first day passed in a blur. I slept. Ate some dry granola. Tried to piece together the last week like a movie reel with scenes missing. Why me? Why the briefcase? Why the calls? And most of all, why help me? On the second day, the laptop buzzed awake. No login. Just booted straight to a single open file on the desktop, plain.mp4. I hesitated, then hit enter. A video started. It was security footage, bank interior. The same one from the news. The robbery. But this version was different. Clearer. Angle I hadn't seen before. It showed the shooter entering through the rear exit, not the front lobby like they'd claimed. And more than that, he wasn't alone. There was a second figure. Tall. Hooded. Carrying something bulky. The shooter looked exactly like me. But then he turned slightly, just enough for the camera to catch his jawline. Freeze frame. Not me. Scar on the cheek. Thinner lips. Same jacket, sure. But not me. And then the feed switched to another angle, alley view. This time, it showed the second figure tossing something into the dumpster. The briefcase. I watched in silence as the figure removed gloves, pulled out a cloth, wiped down the handle, then looked up directly into the camera. It was Bobby. My maintenance guy. But not in overalls. Not in his janitor getup. He was dressed like a private contractor. Clean vest. Tactical watch. And he smiled. The video ended. No music. No warning. Just static. And then the laptop screen changed. Text appeared. You are not the first. But you can be the last. I just stared. Because what the hell does that even mean? Day 3, the guy brought me a radio. Said I could listen to channel 113. Nothing else. All it played was white noise until 3:17 a.m. Then, faintly, under the fuzz, a voice. Female. Same one. This is bigger than Bobby. Bigger than the guard. You were the easiest piece to move. Click. Gone. Later that morning, I heard footsteps upstairs. More than one pair. I froze, pressed against the wall. No talking. Just boots pacing. One of them had a limp. Heavy drag every third step. I remembered that sound. Back in my building, third-floor hallway. The guy who used to deliver packages to 3C. Always came late. Always walked like that. Limp drag. Limp drag. He's here. That night, I had a dream, if you can call it that. I was back in my apartment, holding the briefcase again. Except this time, it was open, and instead of money, it was filled with Polaroids. Each one was me. But slightly wrong. Different clothes. Different scars. One had me wearing glasses I never owned. One had me bald. Another smiling with teeth I know I've never had too straight. Too perfect. Then came the last one. Not me. A man with no eyes. Just skin stretched over sockets. Smiling. Holding the briefcase like a gift. I woke up choking. I didn't sleep again after that. Day 4, the guy came back. Said I had a visitor. I asked who. He just opened the hatch and let her in. Her name was Claire. And she said she used to be Simon Rowe. That's when everything broke. Claire sat down, pulled out a flash drive, and said 10 words that hit harder than anything else in the last week. They build people like you. Test cases. Disposable alibis. I didn't believe her. Until she showed me the photo. Her, 5 years ago. Same age as me. Same nose. Same scar. Her face was mine, but earlier. Softer. Younger. Female. Simon Rowe was a name they'd used before. And now they were recycling it. She showed me documents. Case files. Old dossiers. Project names, Echo Tracer. IDEN prototype. A pattern. Each time, the same setup. Create a trail. Plant prints. Run the media. Introduce chaos. And when the test is complete, burn the evidence. Every one of these people ended up dead, missing, or absorbed. I asked why she was alive. She didn't answer. Just looked at the ceiling and said I stopped playing the game. Then she gave me the final gift. A drive. Encrypted. Password protected. Open it when you're ready to disappear for good, she said. And then she left. Didn't even look back. The guy with the trench coat didn't stop her. Just nodded. Like it was a routine. So here I am. Still underground. Still hiding. Still holding a drive that might explain everything or might just be the final nail. The phone rang again tonight. For 17 a.m. I answered. This time, no static. Just one phrase. You're not hiding from them anymore. You're hiding from us. And then a second voice. Male. Hoarse. Breathy. I want my face back. The line went dead. I'm not Simon. I'm not David. I'm whatever they made me. And I think I was never meant to survive this long. Final update soon. If you don't hear from me, then someone else is wearing my skin. Update 2. Private place number 3 doesn't have mirrors. That was the first thing I noticed. Not the mildew smell, not the dust that settles even on your thoughts, no mirrors. Not in the bathroom. Not above the sink. Not even a piece of glass big enough to catch your reflection by accident. At first, I thought maybe that was just how this place was built. Old house, cheap landlord, maybe mirrors weren't a priority. Then I found the closet. Locked from the outside with a padlock and 2 strips of duct tape sealed over the latch like some amateur exorcist had tried to contain something inside. Curiosity's a sickness. You tell yourself not to touch. You touch anyway. I broke the lock with a hammer I found in the kitchen drawer. Inside? 7 mirrors. Stacked together. Covered in bedsheets. Each one old. Ornate. Antique store quality. Except for the one at the back, full-length, hospital issue. The kind they strap next to trauma patients to teach them how to recognize themselves again. It had something carved into the corner. Just 3 letters scratched deep into the frame like someone did it with a key. SR. Simon Rowe. I dragged it out. Set it against the wall. Stared into it for an hour. Nothing weird. No flicker. No shadow behind me. Just me. But not. Something about the reflection was too sharp. Like it was trying to memorize me. I covered it back up. Shoved it in the closet. Locked it again, this time with a chain from the door. But that night, I heard the thump. Not footsteps. Not breathing. Just a single, wet thump against the wall behind my head. Like the mirror had fallen forward and then caught itself. I didn't go back in the closet. Private place number 3 is the size of a studio apartment but feels like it stretches sideways when I sleep. I measure the space every morning with my steps. 17 steps wide. 12 steps long. Except Thursday morning it was 18. I chalked it up to miscounting. Then it was 19. Then 16. Now I count twice, opposite directions. The numbers never match. I stopped measuring. I've stopped doing a lot of things. Eating regularly. Sleeping more than 20 minutes at a time. Writing anything down. I keep everything in my head now because I think the walls read. Not like, literally, just they listen. And they whisper back in static. That's not the crazy part. Here's the crazy part. Last night I saw myself outside. It was 3:14 a.m. I cracked the window an inch to let in air because private place number 3 runs hot at night like something's burning just beneath the floor. And there I was. Across the street. Same jacket I lost weeks ago. Same hoodie. Standing perfectly still beneath a flickering street lamp like a horror movie extra on standby. I didn't move. He didn't move. I watched for 5 minutes. 10. Tried to take a photo with the burner phone but the screen only showed snow. No image. Just static. Then he tilted his head. Like he could see me? Like he was waiting for me to wave. I closed the window. Didn't sleep at all after that. The next morning I checked the front step. Envelope. No stamp. No handwriting. Inside, 1 photo. Black and white. Grainy. Me sitting in private place number 3. At the desk. Staring at the mirror I locked away. The timestamp? 2 days ago. Which means someone's been in here. While I slept. Or something. Because the man in the photo? He's smiling. I haven't smiled in weeks. I burned the photo. Boiled the ashes. Poured them down the drain and ran bleach until my throat burned. Still felt like something was laughing inside the pipes. I told myself I'd leave. But I didn't. I keep waiting for the 4:17 a.m. call. It's become a ritual. Every night, the phone rings. Every night, I answer. Every night, the voice tells me one more thing I didn't want to know. Last night, it asked a new question. Where were you before this started? I said my name. My real name. My birthday. Where I was born. The voice laughed. Not a sound. Not a chuckle. A laughter algorithm. The same 2.5-second burst played 3 times in a row. Then, those are just the instructions you've been following. Click. Silence. I unplugged the phone. It rang anyway. That's when I found the flash drive again. Claire's drive. I'd hidden it in the fridge under a frozen bag of peas that expired in 2016. Just to see if it got cold. If it reacted. You think like that after enough nights in the dark. I stared at it for hours. Just turning it in my hands. It hums. I swear to God. Not audibly. But inside my palm, I can feel it. I know what's on it could break this wide open. I also know what's on it might be the very thing they're waiting for me to open. This morning, I found a word carved into the inside of the front door. Tiny. Like it was scratched in with a pin. Factory. It wasn't there yesterday. I checked the wood grain. Fresh scrape. I don't know if that's a location, a clue, or a threat. All I know is I'm leaving tonight. Private place number 3 is used up. It's folding in on itself like a lie too old to hold its shape. The burner phone just buzzed. No call. Just one message. They're sending your replacement. I don't have another bag. Just the briefcase, the drive, and the clothes on my back. But I have something else now. Something they weren't expecting. Anger. I'm done being hunted. Update 3. Private place number 4 used to be a laundromat. You can still smell the detergent in the floorboards like some kind of synthetic ghost. There's an old dryer in the corner, door hanging open like a mouth caught mid-scream. I haven't closed it. Not because I'm scared, because I need something in this room to look more unhinged than me. I got here by bus. Not because I trust public transit. I trust patterns. Surveillance loves patterns. Algorithms eat repetition like it's breakfast. I don't give them what they want anymore. Took 3 buses, walked 6 miles through back alleys and side streets that smelled like piss and rust and regret. I took a photo of every camera I saw, then doubled back and looked again. Only half of them blinked red. Half. You know what that means? It means someone's replacing the real ones with fakes. Cheap ones. Dummy shells that make you feel watched without recording a goddamn thing. Which means someone wants me to think I'm being watched. And someone else wants me to feel safe. Those two things should never exist at the same time. The floor here creaks like it's remembering footsteps from people who aren't dead yet. Every night since I got here, I've laid out tripwires, empty soda cans on string, thumbtacks on the mat, chalk lines on the floor like bloodless crime scenes. Every morning, the cans are in place. The chalk is not. Someone's stepping over. Not through. Over. Like they know we're all trapped. Like they built this place and I'm the idiot tenant squatting in their old experiment. The 4:17 a.m. call stopped. Now it's 3:33 a.m. That's the new time. Always on the dot. No ring. No vibration. The phone lights up with one word. Proof. That's all. No sender. No metadata. Not even a fake app notification. Just that word like a tattoo burning on glass. Then the screen turns off. I think it's a countdown. I think I've got 3 days left. Let me tell you what happened yesterday. I went to a library. Not to read. To print something. I needed records. Court documents if I could get them. Death certificates. Eviction filings. Evidence of Mark T., the man Claire mentioned. The ghost before me. The librarian looked like he hadn't aged since 1974. Beard to his chest. Glasses so thick I could see my own reflection in the curve. He asked me what I needed. I gave a fake name. He didn't blink. Just handed me a guest login and pointed to computer number 9. 9. Same number of notes in the lullaby the phone played 3 weeks ago. Coincidence? Sure. Then explain this. When I typed Mark T, the autofill suggested. Mark T, error, access denied, subject expired. That's not a public database message. That's an internal one. I tried again. Nothing. Then a pop-up. Full screen. Black background. White text. SR requested access to restricted node. And a timestamp. Dated 5 days from now. I hadn't requested anything. Not yet. Not until now. But the system thought I already had. Like time inside this thing wasn't linear anymore. Like I'd looped. Like they were showing me my own footprints 5 steps before I took them. I shut the computer down. Unplugged it. Ripped the power strip out of the wall. The librarian didn't flinch. He just smiled and said, "Don't worry. Some files are safer in silence." I left. Got halfway back to private place number 4 when I noticed it. Someone was following me. Not directly. They stayed across the street. Always 10 steps behind. A kid, maybe 12 or 13, wearing an oversized sweatshirt and sunglasses. Kept their head down. Never looked at me. Until I crossed an alley. Stopped. Waited. The kid walked past. Didn't stop. But as they passed, they dropped a card. Just let it flutter down like a leaf. I picked it up. Blank on one side. Other side said. Factory. 8th and Elms. Back door. Same word from the carving in private place number 3. Same font as the passport. Same shade of red ink that printed the word run in the briefcase. It's all connected. Tonight I went there. Not into the factory. I'm not stupid. I watched from the roof of an old bakery across the street. At 2:43 a.m. the back door opened. A man walked out. Tall. Thin. Same build as me. Wearing my jacket. My jacket. The one I left behind in the first motel. The one I burned in a trash can behind a gas station 5 weeks ago. He looked up. Directly at the bakery. Then waved. Waved. Not a threat. Not a signal. A greeting. Like I was late for my own shift. I didn't wave back. I ducked. Ran. I'm writing this now from under a table. Private place number 4 feels too thin now. Like the walls aren't walls anymore, just stretched skin. Something's pressing from the outside trying to burst through. The briefcase is buzzing. Not vibrating. Buzzing. I don't know how to explain that. I haven't touched the drive. I haven't touched the gun I found inside the dryer last night. Yeah. There was a gun. Wrapped in old rags. Rusted. Loaded. A note taped to the grip. If he answers, don't miss. If he answers. Not if he knocks. Not if he breaks in. If he answers. What does that mean? I think I know. Tomorrow, I go to the factory. I've got the jacket. The burner phone. The drive. I'll walk in through the back door. If someone else walks out wearing my face, I won't miss. Next update will be the last. Thanks for everything so far. This ends tomorrow. Final update. Private place number 5 doesn't have a name because I never made it there. This is it. I'm writing this from the loading dock behind the factory. I haven't slept in 40 hours. My hands smell like burnt plastic. My shoes are wet with something that isn't water. There's no plan anymore. Just this final piece. Here's what happened. I got to 8th and Elms at 2 a.m. sharp, just like the card said. The street was quieter than it had any right to be. No cars. No foot traffic. No wind. Even the air felt held in place like the whole block had been paused. I watched the factory's back door from across the street behind a dumpster that reeked of battery acid and expired meat. At 2:17 a.m. the light above the door flickered. 2 short. 1 long. Morse code. I looked it up afterward. You know what it translates to? Ready. I crossed the street. There was no lock on the door. No keypad. No camera. It opened with a soft groan like something half asleep had just been stirred. Inside, it smelled like rubber and bleach. No signs. No guards. No rooms, really just a hallway. Concrete walls, high ceilings, endless fluorescence humming like tinnitus. The kind of place where bad things happen with paperwork to make them legal. I walked. Past 4 doors. All unmarked. The 5th was slightly ajar. Inside, a monitor. One. Large. Old, CRT style, the kind you'd expect in a 1980s war room. It flickered to life as soon as I stepped in. No keyboard. No mouse. Just text. Simon Rowe. Then. Subject 29. Final iteration. Awaiting reintegration. I backed up. Monitor blinked. Do not exit. I turned anyway. Door slammed shut behind me. Room got cold. No, it wasn't cold. It was empty. Like something had been sucked out. The kind of silence that crushes your eardrums. I felt my nose bleed. Tasted metal. The briefcase buzzed. Then the screen changed. A video began playing. It was me. But not from before. From now. Present me. Same clothes. Same sweat. In the video, I was standing in this exact room. Looking into the camera. And smiling. Then the screen glitched. And I heard my voice. Not from the screen, from behind me. I was wondering when you'd show up. I turned. And there he was. Same height. Same face. Same everything. But cleaner. Straighter posture. Brighter eyes. He didn't flinch. I'm not your twin, he said. I'm your upgrade. He held up a drive. Not Claire's. Identical, but newer. Sleeker. Labeled, override. You were the template, he said. The seed. They built you raw. Built me refined. But we can't both exist. That's not how this works. I asked him who they were. He laughed. They don't have a name. They don't need one. They're whoever signs the checks. Whatever's left after the headlines die. They test things. People. Patterns. You were a test. I asked why they didn't just kill me. He looked sad. They did. You're the echo. He pointed at the briefcase. That money? That passport? It wasn't escape. It was containment. You were supposed to hide. Not figure it out. Then he tossed me the gun. Let's see which of us the world wants more. I didn't catch it. I let it hit the floor. But I picked it up. He didn't flinch. Didn't run. He just stood there. Like he knew I wouldn't pull the trigger. And he was right. Because I didn't want to kill him. I wanted to know. I stepped forward. Asked what was really on the drive. He smiled. Open it. So I did. Right there. Plugged it into the monitor port. The screen glitched. Froze. Then displayed a document. No formatting. Just text. The first line read. If you're reading this, you've already failed. Then it scrolled automatically. Thousands of words. Timestamps. Photos of people I'd never met but looked familiar. Faces that seemed familiar because they were built like mine. Replicas. Prototypes. Victims. A pattern emerged. Every subject was blamed for a crime they didn't commit. Given escape tools. Watched. Measured. Broken. Or, if they survived long enough, absorbed into the system as employees, hunters, ghosts. Some, like Claire, escaped. One went feral and burned down a lab in Georgia. One turned himself in to the police, babbled nonsense for 2 months, then vanished during a transport. One tried to start a life, made it 6 years, married a teacher, had a kid. He lasted the longest. Until the child went missing. His body was found days later. No fingerprints. No dental match. Only the father recognized him. The same face. His own. I scrolled further. Eventually, the document ended. Just 3 words. Become or delete. The lights in the room shut off. I turned to face him, my double. My upgrade. He was gone. Only the briefcase remained. Buzzing again. I opened it. The money was gone. Now there was just one thing inside. A mirror. Cracked down the middle. My reflection? Smiling. But I wasn't. I left the factory through the same back door. The sun was rising. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel chased. I felt chosen. I walked. Back to nowhere. No plans. No names. I kept the gun. Tossed the burner phone. I found a public library. Logged into a new system. Created a new ID. Name, Simon Rowe. DOB, blank. Purpose, observation. And then I opened Claire's flash drive. It wasn't encrypted. It wasn't data. It was a recording. Of me. Sitting across from a woman I've never met. Smiling. Saying. It worked. He believed everything. Then I watched myself take out the gun. Put it on the table. Push it toward the woman. Then fade to black. End of file. That's where I am now. Back in the alley behind the factory. The briefcase is sealed again. But this time, the note inside is different. Typed. Bold. Just one line. Thank you for completing your test. I don't know what comes next. But I know what I am. I'm not a man. I'm not a victim. I'm not a ghost. I'm the product. And I just passed QA. Thanks for reading. Thanks for the comments. I'm gonna use the drive now. Wish me luck.